Hello there, friends. Hello, welcome to the Erin Burd live show. If you are joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? Let me know that you are here. I always love to know who is here with me as we jump on and dive into the topics every single week. So let's go ahead, get things going for us today. All right. If you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? Let me know that you're here. I always want to know who is here with me when we are live. So say hello in the comments. Let me know where you are from. And if you decide to come back at a later date and watch the replay, I want to know that as well. So drop in the comments, #replay, and let me know. So today we're going to talk about finding your peeps, strategies and tactics to fill your studio. Because here's the deal, I hear a lot of times, I need more students, and especially as the new year rolls around, I hear this, I need more students. And maybe this is the first thing that comes to mind when someone asks you what your goal is for, January, for the first quarter of the year. And that makes sense. It totally makes sense. But your goal might be to up your studio enrollment, or maybe it's to reach capacity in each of your classes, or launch a new mobile program, or my goodness gracious, revamp your schedule. I don't know. There's lots of different goals that you might have, but it's crucial to get clear on two specific things: your overall strategy to achieve that goal, and the tactics you'll use to support that strategy. So, goals, strategies, tactics, they all might seem like they're all one and the same, right? But they're not. In this broadcast today, we are going to break down how we need to view these as very different animals and how we can develop strategic marketing to feed our studios and to grow our businesses. I'm Erin Burd, and I support dance studio owners and educators to grow their businesses by creating their own unique vision of success, all without the burnout, all without the overwhelm, or without sacrificing your personal life. So let's dive right in. Let's dive right in today. Goals, strategies, tactics. Oh my, right? Goals, strategies, and tactics. And today I want to dive into these three different words and really talk about what they mean and how they work together. Because, the truth of the matter is that they are all very different animals. And I think sometimes when we are setting our goals for the new year, we jump straight to all the little things that have to happen to make that goal a reality. But this is where we actually make a misstep. And so I want us to start out with saying this. Good morning, y'all. And if you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? I want to know what's here. We love to learn out loud here. So I would love to invite you. We have a #takeaways. So if something really resonates with you, if you have that aha moment, or if you're finding something that another person has said that you find valuable, I want you to drop in the comments a #takeaways, because we love to learn out loud, and it really grounds what we're learning and we could share with others. Before we start here today, I want to let you know that we do have it set up that if you are looking for this in a blog form, or if you're looking for more strategy, tactics, and tips, then I want you to drop below the word strategy below, and we will get over to you and get you all the goodness and get you as part of our community. So, hello, let's get this party started, y'all. Okay, so what is the goal? What is the goal, right? And I know this might seem like a very simple question, but I want you to hang in there with me, okay? Because when you are asked, what is your quarter one goal? right? It might be, I want to add 20 new students. Let's use that as an example, right? I want to add 20 new students. And I actually was thinking when I was planning this broadcast the other day, I was actually kind of went back in my mind to when I first started Birdie's Kids in Motion, my mobile company. And I was thinking about when I first started, I'm like, ooh, I need to enroll 100 students to make this financially viable for my family. I need to, right? I started thinking about, that's what I thought my goal was. I thought my goal was I needed 100 students. And while that goal in itself, at the time, I thought that was my goal. But what I want you guys to really do is to lean in to the idea of reframing what goals are to you. And here's what I mean by that. So going back to when I first launched my mobile dance studio, I told myself my goal was 100 students because I needed that financially so I didn't have to go to work at a job, right? And let's be honest with you guys. Most of us who start studios, we are not in it for the business side. We're in it because we are really good at being dancers or being teachers or being educators. And it's just kind of like the next natural step. One of my clients always says, I became an accidental business owner because I knew that I didn't want to work for somebody else. And I knew I was really good at teaching and I was a really fantastic dancer. And so I'm an accidental business owner. But the truth of the matter is there was no accident about it. But she didn't feel like business. I didn't have an MBA or I didn't have a degree in business. So I'm not a business owner, right? Or maybe she never thought that. And so when she was planning and when I was planning, for myself, my first thought was I need 100 students, right? But if I'm being honest with you guys, that really wasn't my goal. That really wasn't my goal. As I sit back and take a look over the years, I'm like, deep in my heart, I didn't want to just have 100 students, right? My real goal was that I wanted to be the go-to mobile studio in the Central Valley, that I wanted to be there for working moms and dads and parents who maybe couldn't make going to a studio at night and on the weekends. I wanted to be able to serve some students who maybe would have never gotten the experience to try dance. That was really my goal. Now, when we go down and we break it into strategy and tactics, there's different things that happen to that. But I really want you to think about your goals is the change that you want to see. A goal isn't a singular event or a singular program. Your goal is your bigger why. It's your bigger vision. It's your what's the change that you want to see, whether it's within your community as a whole. Maybe the change is, I want to add 20 students to my studio so I can change their lives for the better and support them and allowing them to be and feel like something bigger. Maybe that's your goal, right? But I really want to challenge you to reframe the way that you think of your goals, right? So let me know. I really would love to know in the comments below. In the comments below. Let's do this. In the comments below, because we're going to work together here, okay? So in the comments below, let me know what is your goal for quarter one, January through March, right? We're just kicking off January. What is your goal for the first quarter? Is it to change the lives of 20 new families that come and walk inside your studio? Is it to have them fall in love with the art? Is it for them to have a safe place where they can express themselves? What is your goal? And it can be tied to a number, right? If it's, I need 20 students, but how do we reframe that? Now, if you don't want to share with us in the comments, I get it, right? But write it down somewhere, please, y'all. Write it down somewhere. Remember, learning out loud, right? Let's do this together. So, what is your goal for the first quarter? What is your goal for the first quarter? Then we have to go into, okay, now here's what happens. So many times we have that goal of we need 20 students, and we automatically jump to doing all the little things to make it happen, right? All the little things to make it happen. And we think about, okay, let's go to adding 20 students, right, to your studio. We might go to, okay, I'm going to do a Facebook ad, right? And we throw a Facebook ad out there, or we throw a post out there saying, I've got 20 spots available, right? Or whatever. And we go to that. It may not work. And then we think that our goal will never come true, or that we're a failure, or that we start having this whole imposter syndrome situation happening. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not whatever. And I want to go back to when I was telling you about when I was launching Birdies. And one of the things that I did was I said, oh, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send an email to all of these daycares. And if I throw it out there, all my problems will be solved. I'll have that 100 students in no time. Right? And I didn't get much response. Probably no response, to be quite honest with you. And of course, I started thinking, oh my gosh, is this never going to work? Am I crazy? Am I what? Like, people don't want this in my community. You know, I started going down through that whole thing. But then I had to stop and think about, well, one, I'm sending an email to somebody who doesn't know me, who hasn't asked for me to send them an email, right? And expecting them to just open their doors and their arms and say, yes, come in, right? I had missed that strategy piece. I missed that strategy piece. I went to what felt safe at the time. Well, I'm just going to send out a bunch of emails. And if I send those out, they will come. This isn't Field of Dreams, y'all. Right? I thought if I sent that out, that they would come. But what I forgot was really leaning into the next part, which is, what is strategy? Right? What is strategies? And here's the deal with strategy. I want you to think of strategy as your long-term game plan. What is your long-term game plan? Because here's what happened for me, right? I sent out those emails, unsolicited, right, to people who did not know me. And I expected all of a sudden for me to have those 100 students. It didn't quite work that way, right? Because I didn't have a long-term strategy in place. And so one of the things that I had to go back to in my strategy was I had them they had to know me, to know who I was. They had to know that I was trustworthy. I was dependable. I was likable. I was darn good at what I did, right? I had to get them to understand, to know that. And that was not by just sending them a cold email and hoping that I'd have those 100 students. It didn't work that way, right? Because it was me trying to figure out and just do all the things without having a long-term strategy. And I want you to kind of think about a strategy as like a big tent, like a circus tent, or an umbrella, right? It's like the overarching of all the things that are happening below to make that goal possible, right? So inside our circus, right, we have like the trapeze artists and the flamethrowers, and we've got, the elephants and the oh, they probably shouldn't have those anymore, but we have all the things underneath, y'all, and happening, right? Because they go back to the overarching, the umbrella of our long-term strategy. Our long-term strategy. And we have to remember that we have to think about this in the bigger sense, right? Because so many times, like I said, we have that goal, 10 students, 20 students, 100 students, whatever, and we jump to trying to do all the things like, oh, we're going to throw out a post and that'll be the answer. Oh, we'll throw up a Facebook ad. Oh, that'll be the answer. And I've been there. I've done it. And my marketing was all wrong. My copy was all wrong. My marketing was all wrong. Like, it wasn't a great because I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a master game plan, marketing plan to make those dreams come true. And here's the deal, you guys. I think marketing is probably one of the hardest things that we do as studio owners, right? Because again, it's hard to talk about what we do, right? I was talking to one of my clients and I said, it's hard for us to talk about what we do, but as dancers, we love others to brag on us. We love the audience applause, right? So it makes it harder for us to talk about what we do. Okay, so now here's where, y'all, we're tying these all three together. And I want you to lean in with me. And I understand that we need to fill our studios. And that's probably why you're here today. But we have to understand these three things to make it make sense. Okay, so what are tactics? Tactics are all the things that you do and you try and that you implement to reach that goal. Right? So it might be the Facebook post. It might be a Facebook ad. It might be emailing out your families that you currently have and saying, oh my gosh, we have 3 spots in our Tiny Tot classes and we absolutely adore you. And we wanted to see if you knew anyone who would fit this class and who would love to be part of our studio. That's a tactic, right? Maybe one of the things that you do for your strategy is figure out how are you going to be more known in the community. Maybe the Facebook ad isn't selling a class. Maybe your Facebook, that's hard to say this morning, Facebook ad is more about creating awareness, and it's putting out a Facebook ad that's a video of one of your recitals or what you're doing in class or what your values are inside your studio. But maybe part of your master longer strategy is to get better known in your community. So many times I hear studio owners tell me, Erin, like, my studio is better than X, Y, and Z who just opened down the street a year ago, 2 years ago, but their enrollment it's crazy and I'm idling, right? And it all goes back to, well, what is your long-term strategy for your marketing plan? Because we cannot do a great marketing plan if you are not clear on your real goal. Who you are, what makes you different, that you are dependable, trustworthy, darn good at what you do, and a place that aligns with their family's values. Yes? Okay, so tactics are all those little things that sometimes we jump over the strategy, and sometimes I call tactics like throwing spaghetti on a wall, because if you do not have a great strategy in place, it's like throwing spaghetti on a wall. I'm going to throw up a post and say I have 5 spots open and hope that fills those 5 spots. Now, while that could be part of your bigger strategy, absolutely do that post, absolutely send that email, but we have to have a bigger, broader, long-term game plan for marketing in our studio. And one of the other things that I want to get into today is that when you have spots to fill, we need to be intentional about filling those specific spots. When you send out generic posts to the world, emails to the world, right? Like, We serve everybody, right? Few of those are needed. But the truth of the matter is, people don't know what they don't know. And if you don't have space available in, let's say, your Saturday classes, but you want to fill your Wednesdays and Thursdays, you need to start and be specific. I want to pick these tiny tot Thursday classes, and that's what I'm going to focus on. That's part of my tactics. That's part of the bigger strategy, because inside that tiny tot class, I have 3 spots I want to fill. I can fill those 3 spots. Then I can go to the next and fill, right? Do you see how we're being intentional? And we're getting to that big goal. We're getting to the strategy through those tactics, but they're all the smaller things. Yes? Hope that's making sense. Yes. Okay. So, goals, strategies, and tactics. Oh my, right? They are 3 different animals. To fill your studios. Yes. To fill your studios with the right peeps, you have to know your bigger goal, the change that you want to see, your long-term strategy, and the tactics that you try. And here's what I want to say to you, and I hope that you're leaning in, is that just because you try a tactic and it doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that those goals will never come true. Because here's the thing, when you have the bigger strategy and you have that longer game plan, then you have other things in place, right? To continue being in action and making those dreams a reality. Making those dreams a reality. But you have to start with knowing the difference between the 3 and coming up with a long-term strategy. And that middle piece is, I think, where about 80% of studio owners fail when they don't see the results that they're wanting. So they don't have the long-term strategy in place to understand that all the pieces make the wheels turn and make the machine work. That makes sense? You can't have a broken wheel over here. You can't be driving your car and have one flat tire and expect you to get to your destination quickly. Right? Make sense? Okay. So we have to make sure that we have all of those bits and pieces in place. Now let's dive in real quick, because I know that a lot of you came today for the juicy goodness, like, fill the peeps. I want some tricks and tips and whatnot. So number 1 was, yes, absolutely, be intentional about what classes you're filling your copy, your marketing, your everything around that has to be intentional for that particular thing. If you just say, enrolling now at Susie's dance studio, you're not talking to one person. And this is where, in our marketing, in our social media posts, in our everything we do, where sometimes we miss the mark. We're talking to the masses instead of talking to one singular person. And so what I want you to do is, as you are getting ready to enroll, and I want you to think about, in my tiny tot class, Peyton's mom is my ideal client. Her and her family and her kid, they're amazing. I want to have 4 more little Peytons in my tiny tot class. And when you go to write those posts, and when you go to write that copy for that social media ad for that class, that's who you're talking to. You are writing it like you are talking to Peyton's mom. Nobody else. That is who you will attract, is people just like Peyton's mom. When you write your copy and your content to them. So that's a big tip for y'all. Okay. Be intentional about what you're feeling and write to those people. Right? This isn't just abroad. We're enrolling now. Y'all, tip number 2. I'm going to give you 3 quick little tips. Tip number 2. Have a system to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. Because I'm going to give you a little one of my personal experiences. My daughter Peyton, she wanted to go to continue dance and to go to a studio. And I know in town, at the time, I knew there was 2 that I was probably really comfortable with that aligned with my values, that were a little more conservative. And so I went ahead and I called both of them. Now, this has been a while ago, so just so you know, but called both of them. Left messages for both of them, which is fine, right? The studio my daughter currently goes to, they called me back and we had a chat and I went in and we did all the things. The other studio did not. And truth be told, while I feel like the other studio was probably, I don't want to say the better studio, but for us, I feel like it probably would have been the best fit. They didn't call me back. They didn't reach out. I then sent them an email and I didn't hear back from that. For me, I'm not going to try more than twice. So you need to have a system in place to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. You need to connect with people on a human level. Systems are great. Automation can be great, but not in lieu of human connection. Y'all hear me? Automation cannot be in lieu of human connection. Period. The end. People want to connect. People want to be seen and heard and know that they're valued. It's kind of hard to do through automation in some points. Okay? And number 3, the last tip for starting to fill your studios right now in January, right? So we've got be intentional about who you're marketing to. Have a system in place to follow up with people, right? The third thing that I'm going to tell you guys is you have to have something that draws them in. That has to be part of your long-term strategy. And you guys, if you tell me that, we do a free trial or we do whatever, everybody does that now. It might be free, it might be paid, or whatever, but everyone does a trial now. So don't think that makes you any different than anybody else. What are you doing to attract the right people into your studio? And one of the things, again, I think that we forget about is that we always need people. We always need new leads. We always need new people coming into the funnel because people will leave for one reason or the other. And so we have to make sure that there's people constantly coming into our funnel. And if we're start, stop, not intentional about what we're feeling, and then we wonder, or a lot of times I have people tell me, well, I stopped taking enrollments, in February because we're planning for recital. I'm like, you're missing the mark. Because again, as a mom, if my daughter tells me in, the end of January, Mommy, I really want to go to dance. I want to be able to enroll them. There should be something for them. And if there's not, and I go to another studio, probably never come into yours. Okay. Now, how are we doing, y'all? All right. I also want to remind you guys, if you're coming in late, some of you have come in, you can go ahead and drop a strategy below, and we will get you the quick recap as well as this in a blog post and get you on our list as part of our community to get more tips, more awesomeness, more business strategy mindset through here in Messenger, through our email list. So it will give you the option for that as well. Okay, So, y'all, let's go ahead and do the speedy recap. Goals, strategies, tactics. Oh my, they are 3 different beasts. Y'all, there are 3 different beasts. And so we have to identify what is a goal? What is our goal? It's the bigger change that we want to see, right? What is our strategies, right? That longer term game plan, that marketing strategy, that how are we going to look at the big picture, right? Then what are the tactics that we're going to use? What are the little things that we're going to do to feed into our strategy and our bigger goal? Those 3 things are super important because they all feed off of each other and have to work together. If we skip one or skip, you're not going to see the results that you want to see. Yes? Okay. All of this to be said that you guys, right now, I know that things are crazy. And as we're leaning into 2022, I really want you to know that you can fill your studios. It might look a little different than what you expected, right? That's the other thing. We have to be open to the possibility, right? So if your goal is attached to a number, like 10 more students, right? We need to be open to the possibility. We need to be open to how it comes to you. Because sometimes things don't come to you the way that you expect them to. But if we leave ourselves open to the possibility, magic can happen. So, y'all, my name is Erin Burd. I am dance studio strategist, and I work with studio owners just like you who want to grow their businesses, create their own unique vision of success without all the overwhelm, the burnout, sacrificing their personal lives. And every Wednesday, I come on here and share with you guys business strategy, mindset tips, and skills that we need to wrap ourselves around to have that success. And I hope that next week you will join me, because next week is going to be pretty awesome, y'all. I have my good friend, Joey Garrity, who is going to come on and chat. We're going to have a really great chat because she is a branding maven, y'all. She worked in Hollywood, and for some of the biggest directors. She worked for the director for Independence Day, and she worked in Hollywood and worked for Disney. And I mean, she is absolutely amazing, and she is going to come in and talk about how do we let your own studio stand in their spotlight? How do you differentiate? That's probably not the right way of saying it. Your studio from somebody else's, because that again falls into how are we going to enroll more students? How do we stand in our own spotlight and not get thrown in the pack of everybody being exactly the same, right? What is unique about you? How do you stand in your spotlight? And how do you do that in your business? So I'm super excited about Joey being here as my guest next Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here in the same spot. Now, I will tell you guys, now, if you are looking for some support when it comes to creating your long-term marketing plan and some of those really great tactics that we had talked about and how do we put those all into place, reach out to me, shoot me a message, drop me a line, and we can get on and just do a free session here and say, this is what we think. This is what the bigger plan is going to be. Because sometimes we just need a little help, right? We just need a little help. And I am fiercely committed to you creating your own unique vision of success in 2022. So if you are looking into that and you need a little more support when it comes to your long-term marketing plan and getting those students in the door and hitting those goals that you have, then drop me a little line. I am going to leave you there today. I hope to see you next Wednesday for more awesomeness with my guest, Joey Garrity. And we are going to be diving into you standing in your spotlight. And until next week, friends, stay awesome. Stay you. Have a great one. Bye, friends.